Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the international webinar on multidimensional role of pharmacist in changing healthcare environment. This international webinar is organized by ASPM's K. T. Patel College of Pharmacy, Osmanabad. I am your today's host, Mr. Umbre Ramraja, HOD, Head of Department Pharmacology, working in the same institute. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome to all the participants and dignitaries for this international webinar. We are overwhelmed by the huge response we have received from different countries and different personals from different categories for this webinar. Before we deal to this seminar, I would like to introduce today's international personality, today's international speaker of our this webinar. We have a very eminent personality with all of us. We are here, Dr. Praveen Kumar Ingle sir, who has completed his M.Pharm PhD. He also did MBA. Right now, he is working as a senior lecturer and editor-in-chief for JPRCP, Journal of Pharmaceutical Research and Clinical Practice, which is published under a well-known publisher, Walter Clovers. Sir is also founder member and president of Hari Vishwa Educational Society. In the past, Sir has worked as assistant professor for 6 years in R.C. Patel Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Shirpur, Maharashtra, India. Sir is having right now till total 14 to 15 years experience, and he's worked as a editor-in-chief, working as editor-in-chief since from last 10 years. Sir published more than 50 research review short papers in national as well as international journals. Sir has supervised as a guide for undergraduate as well as PG students for their dissertation as well as thesis. Sir secured research grant of Rignit Malaysia for research project of undergraduate and PG students from university. Sir has participated in different international webinars and focused on topics with clinical relevance and patent safety. Sir has participated in more than 35 seminars, conferences, workshops, training at national and international level. Sir is served as an advisor for 6th International Postgraduate Conference on Pharmaceutical Sciences 2018, which was held at International Medical University, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Sir served as an assessor as well as examiner as well as evaluator for undergraduate, PG and PhD thesis for well-known universities. Sir has actively involved in designing, developing, curriculum mapping and content delivery of a newly launched Master in Pharmacy practice. Sir also involved in curriculum review, curriculum mapping, development and designing, case-based learning, problem-based learning, OSEC, etc., etc. I hope it will take one more day to explain in detail about Praveen Kumar Ingle sir. So without wasting much more time, I would like to request our beloved principal, Dr. Amol Doshi sir, to give brief agenda of this webinar. Please, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Myself, Dr. Amol Doshi. As a principal, it's my immense pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of today's international webinar. Firstly, I am very much thankful to today's eminent personality, today's eminent resource person, and my respected teacher, Dr. Praveen Kumar Ingle sir, who has given his valuable time for this today's program. Surely, he will enlighten all of us through his presentation today. Then I would extend my deep sense of gratitude to my management, to our inspiration, our secretary, Sri K.T. Patil sir, then our chairman, Sri Sudhir Patil sir, our young dynamic leadership, our administrative officer, Sri Aditya Patil sir, in believing me and continuously motivating and supporting me for arranging such kind of programs. Then last but not least, I would specially acknowledge and appreciate efforts of my team, specifically if I have to take the names, specifically Professor Atul Kumar Alkunte sir, Miss Chitra Hangargekar ma'am, Miss Sharad Mali sir, Professor Ram Raja Umbre sir, and Professor Sudhir Pange sir, as well as all my support staff team members who has given their continuous efforts for organizing the today's program. Now, with this, I conclude my speech and I request Dr. Praveen Kumar Ingle sir to continue with his presentation. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for my introduction. So just a minute, I will start sharing my presentation. Before that, I would like to thank to Adarsh Shikshan Prasarak Mandals Society and then KT Patil College of Pharmacy for inviting me as a speaker for this today's international webinar. And then also I would like to thanks to all the management team members, Dr. Amol Joshi, Professor Umre, Professor Alkunte, and Professor Pange, and all his team, Dr. Amol Joshi's team of KT Patil College of Pharmacy. So today, as you have taken initiative, and that's why we are meeting online. So actually, I want to congratulate to all of you with your management team and with
Thank you.
all your team members that you
Yes, sir.
have taken a good initiative to to have this international webinar, and then as efforts of this we are meeting online. I think since from long back we are meeting online, and this is the opportunity for me also to share my knowledge. Okay, and this is the way like how we can learn from each other. So this is a
Yes, sir.
pandemic situation, and then by this way also we are taking this pandemic situation challenge as an opportunity, and then we are meeting online, and then that time also, in this time also, we are learning from each other, so that we need to
Definitely.
appreciate ourselves. Okay, so with this I will start sharing my screen. Okay, and just a minute. Okay, so today's topic is multi-dimensional role of pharmacist in changing healthcare environment. So first of all, I want to explain you here why this particular topic I chosen. Okay, so meanwhile with this pandemic scenario, I took some initiative to deliver some my talk in international webinar that organized in Maharashtra and all other part of the India. So actually, why I given here the multi-dimensional role? Because the pharmacist is not working in any one field. So it's a multi-dimensional, right? So we are going to see what are the multi-dimensional role of pharmacist in this changing healthcare environment. Like we know all, we are facing now this pandemic situation, Corona COVID-19 situation. So in this also, we need to accept the change and we need to move forward accordingly. So with this topic, we will see in today's session like how the pharmacist role is emerging in the changing healthcare environment, and what are the skills we need to adopt in order to move forward and to be first in place compared to all others. Okay, so this is the way like how we can move forward with the our multi-dimensional role. So before checking our multi-dimensional role, we should know what are the role of pharmacists, right? So that also we are going to see in our today's session. So as the professor is given already my introduction, right? So I am not going in much detail. So just in short, I will tell you I am working as a senior lecturer in International Medical University, and I'm glad to tell you that this is one of the most established private medical university in Malaysia, and is a top ranking university in Malaysia. Okay, and this is recognized by the Setara, that is our university, IMU, International Medical University, is having 6 star. So it's a like it's a top ranking university. The topmost is a 6 star. So IMU received the 6 star in the past few years in 2017 rating. And just this is for your information, and I'm working in Department of Pharmacy Practice and in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Okay, so with this, we'll start with the. So this is my YouTube channel. Okay, so it's not only limited to whatever I'm delivering things in this today's session, but whatever I delivered earlier, that you can go through with this QR code. Okay, so just you can take a photo, or later also you can go through with this using this QR code, and you can visit my channel, and then you can see what are those lectures I delivered earlier in international webinar, or in the uh, as a keynote speaker in the different conferences. So by that way, it will be helpful for you, obviously, to my opinion, and you can gain some knowledge related to the PharmD, and as well as for your B Pharm, M Pharm, even though I can say the for PhD. So those are pursuing their PhD, it will be helpful for them. So for today's session, actually what I'm going to present here is that the first one is a background. So just here I will give some example in background so that you can understand better. And in my today's session, I made this content according to my today's, particularly the audience, like the D Pharm students. So even though it will be helpful for D Pharm, B Pharm, M Pharm, and also those are pursuing PhD, so it will be helpful for them. So this one, I tried to cover some examples here in this today's session. So the first one is a background, and then the introduction for this topic, today's topic. Then what are the opportunities as a pharmacist we have? So like in my time when I was a student, I was not aware about what are the opportunities the pharmacist is having. And then I was not aware, like the so many opportunities are there, and then we need to knock the particular right door so that we can get that particular opportunity. So this is all about which particular the door you're knocking for the job, and how you're preparing for your job, that is your interview. So that one also we are going to see in short, like how you can develop your skills, how you can develop your the job skills, as well as how you can apply for your job, and then what are the opportunities in government as well as non-government sector as a pharmacist you have in coming time. Okay, so pharmacy skill development, this might be new for you, some of you, some may know about it. So this is called as pharmacy skill development. So we know the basic skills, right? So communication skill, and then having the some computerized basic things. So these are all the basic things we should have for our job. So that is the basic mandatory things, right? The knowledge obviously, and the experience that matters, right? So in order to have the pharmacy skill development, so particularly for a job, you need to have some basic skills. I gone through the PCI syllabus, and then I saw you have, I think the pharmacy practice is one of the subject. So in order to study that particular pharmacy practice, you need to develop some skills. Okay, so again I will explain in much detail in pharmacy skill development. So what are the skills as a pharmacist you need to develop? Okay, so before that you should know that what are the skills right now I am having, and how I can go further beyond that. Okay, and then we can learn about what are the future prospect, so how the world is moving. So you can compare your local national level with the global scenario, and by that way you can see what are the future prospect you have as a pharmacist in the worldwide in a global way. And lastly, I want to give one message to all of you, and by that way we can complete this session by completing all these the points that I mentioned here. So just let us start with the positive quote. Okay, so this is the skill I developed in last from my 3 months time period, when it was a lockdown, right? Due to the COVID-19. So all the world is suffering due to the coronavirus and due to the COVID-19. So you need to be positive in some way, that you're developing your skills. So this is the initiative I took myself, and then I started writing some quotes. So one of the quote is here: live in present, think about future, and learn from reflecting on your experience. So this is not only related with the pharma field, but anyone can adopt this. Okay, so whoever like working, or might be student, or might be having his own business, so these lines are very important. So you need to learn to live in present, and obviously most of us thinking about future, and with that we are learning what mistakes we did in our past, right? So this is the way how we can take it positive, and what are the mistakes we did in our the past life, that we are not going to repeat it. Okay, so that if it is coming to the student side, okay, so what mistake you did in your past by writing your essay questions in your exam, so don't repeat that question, repeat that particular mistakes again and again. Okay, so if you have the other mistakes, that is okay, but if you're repeating the same mistake for a long time, so that is not acceptable, and that is obviously it will be hurdle for your growth. Okay, so this is the way how we can think positive. Okay, so in order to that, you need to nurture your brain accordingly to have the positive thought from your brain. So obviously as a pharmacist, we know that the thought process, how our thought process is initiated. Okay, and then how we are thinking everything in positive way. Okay, some are thinking in the other way also. Okay, so this is the background for our today's the session. Okay, so multi-dimensional role of pharmacist. Okay, so here I categorize mainly in three types. Okay, three types of role of pharmacist, but actually there are many roles of pharmacist in the our current scenario. But here I try to cover this all the things in three in the background, but later in the PPT I have in detail what are those particular the roles of pharmacist in the current scenario. Okay, and especially this content is mainly I prepared with our Indian scenario. Okay, some of the global aspect also I highlighted here, but what is my opinion here is that it will be helpful for you, for my today's audience. So that's why I just made this content available to particularly with the Indian scenario, right? So this multi-dimensional role of pharmacist. So particularly we have education, right? So those are completing their D Pharm or B Pharm, M Pharm. So obviously whenever you're going through the education, right, in education field, so obviously at least you should have the B Pharm your qualification, okay, as a minimum, and then M Pharm and PhD, right? So nowadays you can see the PhD is having more demand compared to the M Pharm and B Pharm. Okay, whenever it comes to the B Pharm side, and diploma, obviously the B Pharm also can teach, but might be now the senior is changing, and they might be think about the higher education teacher, right, M Pharm and PhD. So obviously in education the things are changing, and this is one of the role of pharmacist that is very important, because we are teaching to the future pharmacist, and if the teacher is up to date, and if it is with the current knowledge, and then he can teach properly, so that role of pharmacist as an educator is very important. Okay, so it start from the teacher and it ends to the educator is a like the higher terminology, those are having the policy for the teaching, those are making the instruction guidelines for the teaching, so those are called as educator, right? So basic thing is start from the teacher and then you can go to the higher level up to the educator. Coming to the next, the thing is like community and hospital pharmacists. So those may be like, completing after your D farm, you might think about to open your own community pharmacy, right? So here again, I want to tell you that like most of us in India, we can call as like medical store or something like that, but this is not the way to call as a medical stores. It's not a store, right? So it's obviously store, but it's not a like, the other stores if you are comparing. So it is mainly dealing with the life saving drugs, and dealing with the healthcare professionals. So obviously we need to call as a community pharmacy instead of calling as a, the other words, the generalized word, right? So community pharmacy is the ideal word. So one can establish and think about the community pharmacy. The pharmacist also can get the, the job opportunity in the hospital. There are many roles to play in hospital that we are going to see in our coming slides. And then pharmaceutical industry, right? So pharmaceutical industry also, you have many job opportunities, and also as a pharmacist, your role will be multi-dimensional in that aspect. So right from the preclinical side, the clinical side, and also up to the market research, right, and the marketing. So everywhere the pharmacist is working very hard. But now we can see the growth of pharmacy, and also now the people are recognizing the role of pharmacist in this coming time. Earlier, like before, past 10 years and 15 years, nobody, like most of the people, they don't know about the pharmacy and what is their role. But nowadays there is a more awareness about the pharmacy, and now in coming time we can think about there is a much more awareness as well as job opportunities for the pharmacist, right? So that's why I given here the topic as a multi-dimensional, because as a pharmacist we are not dealing with only one thing, but at the same time we have many things to deal with. So that's why it is a multi-dimensional. And the next, the sentence in the topic, in the presentation topic, is a changing healthcare environment. So dealing with this current pandemic situation, so that is one of the example, what how we can say is a changing healthcare environment. So our healthcare environment is changing, the attitude of physician is also changing. Like if you are comparing with the western countries and Indian setup, so earlier we don't have the pharmacy practice, the branch, but now we have the pharmacy practice, and now the pharmacist also can give their input to the physician, right? So now the things are changing. They can only, it's not only limited to the dispensing of medication, but it's also including the dispensing as well as the giving some counseling point, or also checking the prescription, like the prescription screening. So prescription screening includes a lot of things, like drug interaction. If there is a polypharmacy, how we are going to address that polypharmacy issue. And then what are the drugs that causing drug interaction, and what are those alternative medication available, right, for the patient if there is any drug interaction problem. And there are many other examples. I will try to finish our all these examples in given time. Okay, so this is why I given this title, like a multi-dimensional role of a pharmacist in this the current changing healthcare environment. Okay, so obviously whatever the things we are doing here to have the proper patient safety, and then the proper or the better outcome, right, in sort of how we can tell as a treatment. Okay, so we are providing treatment to the patient to have the proper patient safety as well as the good therapeutic outcome. Okay, again, one term I want to tell you here is that you might be heard about this, is like quality of medicine, and the quality use of medicine. Okay, so what is the difference actually in between quality of medicine versus quality use of medicine? So quality of medicine, as we know that, okay, so WHO, the World Health Organization, they have given some certification to the manufacturing industry, that is called as WHO GMP, that is Good Manufacturing Practices certification. So by that way, we are monitoring the quality of medicine. So right from the bulk drug and how it is going to be manufactured and how it dispensed to the to the patient. So that all include in the quality of medicine. So in short, how we can explain the quality of medicine is that it will start from the bulk drug, and then after the manufacturing, the finished product came to the shelf of the pharmacist, and then up to the dispensing part. So everything comes in the quality of medicine. But again, some of the part is overlapping in the quality use of medicine, right from the dispensing of medication and counseling by the pharmacist. So that all parts comes under quality use of medicine. So how we are utilizing that particular medicine in the patient care. So how I can give example here is that, so like earlier in this COVID-19 situation, some of some of the patient, they started already the chloroquine, right? So they had chloroquine in the COVID-19, and because of as chloroquine having the adverse effect of the heart rate, heart attack, right? So some of them got the heart attack due to the improper use or misuse of the chloroquine that is not recommended in some of the patient, as that is contraindicated, right? So that is the way the quality use of medicine role comes in. Okay, so you need to use the medicine in a proper way. So that is the meaning here, is a quality use of medicine. So hope so you understand the difference in between the quality of medicine versus quality use of medicine. So quality of medicine is all about the manufacturing from bulk to the final product, and quality use of medicine is mainly relates with the clinical practice once it is dispensed by the the pharmacist. Say suppose like insulin is dispensed by the pharmacist. So in order to dispense the insulin, the pharmacist should tell to the patient, okay, what are the precaution he should take while taking the insulin, how the insulin dosage will be rotated among the body surface area. If he is taking at the one point of time at the one body surface area only, what are the things, what are the adverse effect may come, okay, what are the complications may come. And then if he's traveling to the some by bus or by his own car, how to store that particular insulin while traveling, and also how to take the insulin in traveling, how to deal with the hypoglycemia if the patient is taking overdose of the insulin. So these are all the aspects coming under the patient counseling, and that is the role of pharmacist. But some are doing that in a proper way, but still there is a scope of improvement, and we need to update ourselves to give that particular knowledge to the patient. So that comes in quality use of medicine. Okay, so this is the COVID-19 situation. Again, I want to give here one example. Like, we are having this impact of COVID-19. Okay, and now maybe you heard about this new terminology is called as new normal. Okay, so now seeing the spread of this COVID-19 in India, it's too much, right? So compared to all other countries now, we in India, this is the top country now, in the top listed country now, due to the spread of this COVID-19. So this new terminology introduced here is a new normal. So new normal means what? So we need to learn how to live with COVID-19, even though it may go long for a long time, like might be 6 months or maybe like 1 year. Nobody knows that up to what time it will take. So we need to learn to live with the COVID-19 now. So obviously we need to have some personal hygiene, we need to have the hand hygiene, and obviously those are, healthcare provider, especially the doctors, the pharmacists, the nursing staff, and all other healthcare providers. They need to be very careful while, treating the patient, and they need to take extra precaution. So that is how this the environment is changing now, and we need to adopt it, and that's why it is called as new normal. So this is a normal only, but now we are facing a new virus, right? So that's why it is called as a new normal. And due to everything, you can see the picture here, the world is temporarily closed. Okay, so world is closed due to the spread of it, but this is not the solution. We need to live along with COVID-19. So that's why it is called as a new normal. Okay, so as if you are going through the history, you might be know about more things about the COVID-19 now. And again, what are the viral infection we, in past time, in a past history we had. So I am not going to in much detail, but just I want to compare here. One of the viral infection is mumps. So the mumps infection is mainly caused due to virus also, but it is more infectious, more contagious than the COVID-19. And once the patient is getting this mumps, infection, he is able to transmit that infection more rapidly compared with the COVID-19, in much earlier way, in a more short way. Okay, and that is more contagious, I can say, rather compared to the COVID-19. So that is our history, and that's why, the scientists work very hard and then come up with the vaccine called as MMR, right? So MMR vaccine is a measles, mumps, and rubella. So all together, three in one. We have the vaccine that is called as MMR, and it will be especially injected by the nursing staff and also the doctors. But in some country, I want to note, I want to tell you here is that some country, even pharmacists are well trained, and then they are having the skill to, inject the vaccine. So that is, the way how we can learn from the other countries, how the pharmacist is working, and how we can still expand our role in healthcare setup. Okay, so this is the example, like, even though it's a more contagious and mumps, but still we got a conclusion, and we got a answer for it by introducing the vaccine. But still, for the COVID-19, we are waiting for the vaccine to come into the market. But now many pharmaceutical industry, even some universities are research unit, they are working on the COVID-19 vaccine, and the clinical trials are going on, right? If you are going through the current literature. So as this virus, also we have another virus is HIV, right? So HIV, still the discovery for vaccination is going on, and still we are waiting for the vaccine. And this vaccine is not came into the market yet because of many reasons. The some of the reasons, like, the nature of the virus, and then the mutation the virus is doing over the time, and that is the hurdle how, like, the scientists are getting to discover the HIV vaccine. So this is all about the background of the this session, this topic particularly. So what is the introduction? So as a pharmacist, which skills you need to acquire? So you just ask question yourself. So as I cannot see your face, okay, so generally how I conduct my session is that, so my presentation style is different. Okay, and then I won't reveal the answer for all the questions in my session, in my international webinar, or maybe, like, in workshop or seminar. So what I will give some question to the audience, and then let them explore, let them think about that, and then by that way you can learn more, properly. So that is my opinion. So you can expect some like, question from my session, today's session, and then you can, as a pharmacist, you can just explore it, and then you can go through afterwards and then try to find the answer for it, right? So as a pharmacist, which skills you need to acquire? So as I told you, there are basic things, and there are some the upgraded skills that is mainly related with your job opportunities. obviously I'm going to explain you what are those skills that you required, but as a pharmacist you just think in your mind. So once you started thinking, it will be easy for you to understand my today's topic, and then it will be more interactive because I cannot see your face. So sometime I felt like it is not much interactive. So this is the way how will be more interactive, and in between if I'm asking some questions to you, so you will be get alerted, and then the process of learning will be more easy, right? So as a pharmacist, which skills you need to acquire? So you need to see particularly what skills you need to upgrade. Okay, so if you want to become a community pharmacy, you try to update your particular skill. Say suppose dispensing skill, then the counseling skill, your communication skill, right? So if some patient came to your pharmacy, you need to communicate well, so that is the communication skill. Interpersonal skill, so you need to manage your staff in your pharmacy, so you need to update your interpersonal skill also, how to handle the particularly the persons those are working with you in a pharmacy. So that is called as interpersonal skill. So this is not all about your basic knowledge and your confidence, but this is all about your the other skills required for your job. Okay, so that is the way how as a pharmacist you can improve your skill related to your job. Okay, what is the difference in between traditional and modern teaching? So here, what do you mean by traditional? So as we know that our teachers are using traditional way of teaching is only blackboard earlier time, right? So I'm talking about like before 15 20 years before. So we don't have much the interactive tools, the ICT, the information and communication technology tools to interact, to teach to the student. But that time the teachers only used to have the blackboard. And if now we are comparing the modern teaching, so this is one of the example. I'm delivering this lecture from Malaysia and you're listening in India. So that is the way how we improved. And then this is the like opportunity that COVID-19 given to us. So that is the difference, the traditional versus modern teaching. And this is how we are learning from each other. Okay, so this is very important as we need to have some particular experience, our learning experience, right? So this experience is related with the third point. The experience is related with the your job experience. So earlier, whenever you have the 10 years of experience, 15 years of experience, your promotion will be there, right? Your the wherever you are working in the industry, or maybe in the academic, or maybe in the some institute or center. So whenever if you have the 1 year of experience and then 10 year of experience, obviously there is a gap in between your salary. So you cannot compare those with having experience of 1 year and 10 years. So that is the olden era, the mod but now in a modern era, as a pharmacist, with the changing in the clinical scenario and the clinical environment, you need to be very updated, and you need to be value addition. So what do you mean by value addition here? So as a employer of any company, you need to be do some work that add value in the organization. So that is the way how you can increase the revenue of your company. So this is not about the experience you have for your job, but this is all about, apart from knowledge, confidence, communication, how you are going to be worth for any particular company. So that is the meaning here, value addition. So this is very important with the current scenario. And if you are looking for a job and then company is searching for an ideal candidate, obviously in interview they are going to ask you what is your value addition, how you are going to add the value to the company, what you're going to do other than your routine work. So it's not only working from 9 o'clock to till 5 o'clock, but after that, like how you're going to give the benefits to the company. So that is very important. So that is called as a value addition. And rather I can say to all the our pharmacists, okay, so those students are listening to me now, maybe like online, and with the YouTube, and maybe after later on also, okay. So I just want to tell you that value addition is very important, and only the skills are not that effective to get only the job, but value addition is also equally important compared to the skills, okay. So in order to have the good competencies as a pharmacist, so what you need to have, so you need to have as a pharmacist knowledge, confidence, okay, communication, interpersonal skills, okay. So I'm not going to explain each and everything, okay. So only the few things I will explain you, okay. So knowledge and confidence, how you will get the knowledge and confidence. So once you have the reading habit, so if you are reading the so many things, and if you have the the knowledge, ultimately you will get the confidence. So knowledge and confidence are the two sides of the coin, okay. So communication, so ultimately if you have the confidence and if you have the knowledge, you can communicate well, and at the same time you are too confident to deliver the content, right. So interpersonal skill, managing the people around you or you're working with. So you might be working in the hospital, might be in your own community pharmacy, might be in your own setup. So it's an interpersonal skill. Particularly it's the managerial skill, or rather we can say it's a leadership skill, one of the leadership skill. Self-directed learning, so self-directed learning and lifelong learning, these are the 2 points that one should have, ideally the two competencies. As you have the lifelong learning habit, you're reading the so many things, the literature, and by that way you're getting up to date with the current knowledge, what's going on worldwide, not only at the local level or the national level. So that is how like the student can adopt this, the self-directed learning, and they can move forward, right. So skills and value addition, like already we discussed this point earlier, leadership and problem solving, okay. So this is not about you have the skills and you will get the job, but this is all about how your leadership qualities are, how your problem solving nature is, right. So in basically in the industry, whenever you are going for the job, I'm talking about if you are a diploma student, B Farm, M Farm, or PhD even, okay. In multinational company, they have some scenarios, right. So they will put some scenario in front of you, the case scenario, and then they will try to find the answer from you. So by that way they will assess you, how you're capable to get the particular decision, and also the how your problem solving nature is, right. So this is not only the conventional way how we are dealing with the interview, but in coming time the interview will be more tough, and then you need to be prepared in that way, right. So you need to be at the first place compared to all others, so you need to be very unique compared to all, right. So collaboration skill, so how you are collaborating with each other, like if you are in pharmacy and if you are in education, if you want to do some research, you are collaborating with the MBBS people, or the medical people, or in the nursing staff, or might be the other healthcare provider. So that collaboration might be related with the research. So how you are collaborating with each other, might be you're in working in the pharmaceutical industry, how you are behaving with the other your colleagues, and also how you are dealing with them, that is very important. So that is one of the competency for a pharmacist one should have. Resources, so what are the resources you are using for updating your knowledge, okay. So this I'm having one slide, I will show you later what are the resources you can use as a pharmacist, and then how you can improve your knowledge, and that should be evidence based, okay. So with the current time, I can give example here, like coronavirus, like COVID-19, the ICMR came up with some guidelines to have the antiviral drugs, right. So that is evidence based. So already they actually treated some patient, and that's why it is called as a evidence based. So they knows the the activity, the therapeutic outcome of that particular antiviral, and that's why they are recommending in the COVID-19 scenario with the particular comorbidities. Okay, pharmaceutical care mainly it is dealing with the pharmacist with the hospital and community setup, and how your patient-centered care. So how you're giving care with the patient-centered. Patient-centered means like the patients need that particular care, so that is a patient centered. Say suppose like patient is not feeling well to take so many tablets at a one point of time, so what is your opinion on that as a pharmacist? So how you are going to minimize the tablet load for that particular patient? Okay, so it's a patient, one of the example for the patient centered care. Again, what are the services you are going to provide in the hospital? So that also comes under the patient centered care. Research and innovation. So how you are going to do the research in your field, in your job field, and how you are going to be innovative. So innovation comes where there is a thought process, where there is a knowledge, confidence, and the all leadership skills. So I believe that innovation comes there, and by that way you can proceed further in your career if you have the innovation. Okay, if you don't do the innovation, obviously you are not going to survive in a long term. So that is the practical the way how we can think about. So obviously all these things we are doing for the better patient safety, right? So this one I talk about earlier is resources. So what are the resources you can use as a pharmacist? So say suppose like I told you the earlier the guidelines given by the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, the World Health Organization, ICHGCP. Okay, so if you are not aware about this terminology, you can go further and then you can search in the search engine. Okay, afterwards with this all the terminology, because it's not possible to explain each and everything with this time, right? So these are the resources, the CPG, the clinical practice guidelines. Some the government, they given their own CPG guidelines, their association, right? Especially with the WHO, World Health Organization, we have the good manufacturing practices. Okay, those are in clinical research. We have the ICH GCP guidelines, then Schedule Y, right? And many WHO guidelines are also there with the particular the disease condition or disorders, right? Some company have their own SOPs, that is a standard operating procedure for the pharmaceutical industry especially. And these are the last part I given here is India, like we have the many ministries and they have their own reports, annual reports each and every year. So it's available on their web portal, so you can go further and explore it. What are those particular their the report at the annual report, that is at the the year end, so that you can go through and further explore about the details about any particular disease condition, or might be related with the drug usage in the country. Okay, so now you are thinking about what are the opportunities the pharmacist is having, right? So obviously, with this all the skills and our background and the introduction, so obviously you are thinking about now what are the opportunities as a pharmacist I'm having. So what is the basic thing I want to let you know here is that love what you do and do what you love. So this is a like counterparts of each other. So as a pharmacist, you need to think first what you need to do that. Okay, and whatever the things you love, like you want to have some passion particular for that particular job, so do that particular job if you are interested in. Okay, so here as of now, about the pharmacist day, right? 25th September is a pharmacist day, and that is the initiative taken by our Pharmacy Council of India to have the 25th September. And then with this campaign, so they aware the people, those are pharmacists and also the non-pharmacists, those are like society, the common people, the general public. So they try to have the campaign, and then they circulated the information, so like how the pharmacist is working in the country, right? So you can see here the many roles, right, from the research and the drug discovery. So we need to be very glad, like we came into the profession that we are as a pharmacist. And anyone cannot be a pharmacist because you need to take at least a diploma, right, in the pharmacy. And for opening a shop, anyone cannot open just a shop as a, like as I told you, it's not a shop but it's a community pharmacy. So everyone cannot open a community pharmacy, but it's all about the registered pharmacist. So you need to be registered pharmacist if you how to open the community pharmacy in the any state of the country, right? So this is the feature, this is the benefit we are getting after completion of our diploma. And then by that way we are becoming a registered pharmacist, right? So here you can see the lot of roles are there. In detail I will go in next slide, the roles of pharmacist in the current scenario. Okay, so this is about the local and national scenario. What about the international scenario? So international scenario, you can have the World Health Organization. So what World Health Organization did last year? So last year they started the initiation of the patient safety. So by that way they did a campaign, and then they educated the people and the patient and those are healthcare provider by introducing this speak up for patient safety. Okay, so last year 17 September 2019 they started this initiation. And then one of the lecture I took also for this particular subject as a patient safety. Later you can see my YouTube video, and further you can get more details on the patient safety. So especially for the pharmacy student, this is very important: patient safety, the medication adherence, the therapeutic drug monitoring, and all other the topics. So by that way it will be helpful for you. Okay, so now we are moving forward for the opportunities that the pharmacist is having, and how you need to be prepared for that, right? So as I told you, you need to have some thought process, and you need to have some the the target, right? So once you know your target, you can prepare in that way. So aim high, fly higher. So obviously if you have the aim to fly high, you can fly really high. Okay, so that is the way how I want to explain you. So mainly I to my opinion, I believe that passion led us here, right? So that is the my passion in education, and that's why I came in here in IMU in Malaysia, and as I joined as a the senior lecturer here in Malaysia. That is the my passion. And then I feel like everyone is having their own passion to do the work in the pharmaceutical industry, or maybe in the community pharmacy, or maybe have their own entrepreneur, right? So this is the way how I prepared these slides. So this is my own prepared slides, right? So this is the my own content, all the slides. So this is the way how I thought about pharmacists, like pharmacists, how they are contributing to the healthcare industry. And then what are the opportunity as a pharmacist we have in the coming time, and also uh, as of now we have in the our setup, right? So start with the education, right? As we discussed earlier, the education is very important, and educator is the one who is teaching the student, and they are becoming the future of the tomorrow's pharmacist, right? So this is very important in my view, in my opinion, the education. That's why I quoted here the first is a education. And here you can see the lot of opportunities for education field is a lecturer, professor, research scholar, university, and then abroad. So in education you can get the job in the as a lecturer. Okay, so either way you can start. You can start with the education, and you can go clockwise like this, right? Hospital, community, and this one. I know that there are people those are thinking in other way also. The other way thinking is also good in one way. If you're thinking anti-clockwise, see the opportunities. Okay, the opportunities here. Okay, so education, go anti-clockwise. So here there is an entrepreneur, then government jobs, then jobs at abroad. So it's up to you as a pharmacist, you want to go clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay, so that is the way of my presentation. I presented this thing to you. So what are the opportunities we have in education, in academics? As a lecturer, you can start your career. And mainly I told you earlier, like BPharm and MPharm is a minimum requirement, right? And now the minimum might be will go up to the MPharm level in some coming time, I think so. So it's a lecturer, professor, research scholar, and you can also be a lecturer at university. Okay, also you can go to the administrative side if you are willing to do that, okay, compared to the academic side. So that option is also available. Integrative and collaborative research, you can do your research. Okay, you can join in any other academic research institute, like one of the research institute we have is a CSIR, right? So it's the particularly it's related with the industry research, the CSIR, you might be heard about. Higher studies, you can also do the PhD, postdoc, and junior research fellowship or the senior research fellowship. Also you can have the jobs at abroad. So these are the aspects of education. So again, hospital. So hospital setup, you can work as a pharmacist in multi-specialty hospital, private hospital, might be in the specialized care, clinical pharmacist. Also you have the government jobs, like one of the example is National Rural Health Mission. And also you can work as a drug information center in as a drug info pharmacist. Okay, and then as a poison information center. So drug info center and the poison info center, mainly they are working together with the some hospital or maybe with the some university or to the with the some colleges. So we have in India some drug info center and also the poison information center. So pharmacists can work also there. Okay, we have some pharmacovigilance center also. The main office is mainly governed by the CDSCO, the Central Drug Standard Control Organization. And globally we have the Uppsala center, that is in WHO, right? World Health Organization, they have their own center. So whatever the pharmacovigilance queries and then the reportings are there, that will go to the WHO site, right? So this is all about the hospital. Then the community. So what are the roles of community? So mainly community, we have the retail pharmacy, wholesale pharmacy. So those are mainly the pharmacists are completing their D Pharm or maybe completed their B Pharm diploma. They are planning to have their own community pharmacy, maybe the retail or the wholesale. So they need to go for the particular licensing, right? And they need to have some particular space. And if they want to have some collaboration with the doctor, they can have their attached pharmacy, or maybe they can have their own independent pharmacy that is not attached with the doctors, right? So they can think in both way. So nowadays there are many retail pharma companies are there, they have their own pharmacy chains. So you can contact with them in the pharma industry, and then you can build up set up with their guidance. Okay, so that is another option you have as a community pharmacist. Airport pharmacy, in airport also we have a lot of opportunities for the pharmacists, so work as a pharmacist. Indian Railways also, they have their the job vacancy every year whenever they have that. Online pharmacy with the consultation. So now you can see the amendment in the regulation of the Pharmacy Council of India. So PharmD student, they can do their own consultation also. So that is the need of current time, right? So online pharmacy, you can just set up your online pharmacy. Also the consultation, you can have the counseling also there, the patient counseling. And by that way you can also charge to the patient. So it's not a free service, so it's depend on how you're consulting with the actually with the patient. So you can charge for that also for your consultation. Okay, so that is now legally acceptable. So advanced services. So community pharmacy is not only about dispensing the medicine only. So now you can have the body mass index machine at your own clinic, in your own pharmacy, community pharmacy, and then you can have your the body mass index checking there, then the blood glucose level, and all other basic parameters like the blood pressure checking, and then lipid profile and something like that. Okay, so now the trend is going on, and in maybe in future in our setup also we can see this type of community pharmacy in coming time, that is called as a advanced services, right? So coming to the next opportunity is preclinical and clinical. So in preclinical, clinical also we have a lot of opportunities, like from the drug discovery, preclinical research, bioavailability, bioequivalence studies, pharmacokinetic, pharmacodynamic studies, then the CROs, the contract research organization, or we can say as a clinical research organization. So you can start your career as a clinical research associate or coordinator, and go up to the president level by team leader, expert, and then manager, director, and then up to the president level. Also we have the other branches also in the clinical side, like the clinical data management, the pharmacovigilance center, the medical coding, medical writing. So for this particularly you need to have the particular skills. So why I'm telling all these opportunity, so if you are interested in this particular opportunity, you need to develop your skill from your student time itself. Okay, so that will be helpful for you for your future work. Okay, so that is the way how you can work. And again, as I told you, the modern era and the conventional way of teaching. So everything, you don't expect everything from the classroom. You need to take your own initiation, and that is why the role of self-directed learning comes here. So you need to be self initiation, the way you learn the things. So everything you cannot get in your curriculum. So whatever the curriculum designed by the Pharmacy Council of India or maybe any other university, everything you can't expect in the curriculum. But it's up to you, like how you're dealing with your job perspective, and then how you want to develop your skills, right? So medical devices nowadays also having a lot of opportunities there. So we can example is the ECG machine we have, right? So nowadays we have the wireless ECG machine also. So that is the way you can think about the medical devices, and also you can deal with the new opportunities in the coming time. So regulatory affairs, so regulatory affairs also dealing with a lot of documentation, and also dealing with the foreign the companies and the experts to deal with their manufacturing and also the processing of the product in their company. So artificial intelligence and the machine learning are the upcoming technology in the preclinical and clinical side. I'm not able to go in much detail because of the lack of time now. Okay, so next one is pharmaceutical industry, right? So after the clinical and preclinical these opportunities, pharmaceutical industry right from the store. So as a storekeeper and as a purchase officer, you can also think about the team leader and team manager, and then you can grow in the store. So because there are many few persons are available in the store department in the pharmaceutical industry. So if some are thinking about to go in this particular job opportunity, so there is a much growth in this sector also, the store, right? Because most of the pharmacists, what they are doing, they are working in the production or in the QA QC, and also in the other regulatory affairs department, or maybe in the market research or a product executive, but no one is thinking about the store. So this is a the part is not particularly explored. So if you are interested in, you can explore this part also in the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, so as we know that market research is mainly dealing with the marketing of the product, and it's right from its appearance, the how the label will be look like and everything, right? So all these things are coming under the market research, right? So what are the job opportunity the pharmacist is having at the abroad? So some it's depend actually on the country. So some countries are accepting the hospital pharmacy, community pharmacy, also in the pharma industries, and also in the CROs, okay, academics. So maybe you can get opportunity in the some colleges, institute, some research center, or maybe in some university. So that is how the academics you can also get job. But in most of the abroad, at least you should have the PhD. Okay, so then only you can get the jobs as an academician. But rather, in the industry or in CROs, the postgraduate qualification is sufficient in most of the scenarios. Okay, so some of you might be thinking about how I can get the job opportunity in the abroad. So to whom I can contact, right? So consultancy. So obviously you will get the information about the consultancy, but you need to think accordingly. Like consultancy, if you are thinking, so you need to be very cautious, because there are many frauds going on daily basis, right? So you need to be very particular about that, applying through the consultancy. So what is my opinion, like you can directly contact to the HR, the human resource department, with the pharma company, or maybe in the academics, or maybe in the other things, and then directly you can connect them directly, instead of using the consultancy. So government also, we have a lot of opportunity, like hospital, community, and the clinical pharmacist. So obviously for that, you need to give the UPSC or the PSC test, right? So it's UPSC is a central level, and then PSC is the the state level. So if it is coming to the Maharashtra side, it's called as a MPSC, right? So that one also you can prepare, and then you can have your career with the government, if you are planning to do that as a drug inspector, or maybe in a safety officer, FDA, or many other departments are there, right? Pharmacy Council of India. Then what we have, the other government bodies are like CDSCO, the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, is in New Delhi. ICMR, the Indian Council of Medical Research, the pharmaceutical, pricing authority, NPPA. So that is our pricing authority. Okay, CSIR, that as I mentioned you earlier, it is mainly related with the scientific and also the industrial research. Okay, and also the DGHS. So DGHS is the particularly is dealing with the Director General of Health Services. So there also came up last few years back with some opportunities for the pharmacists. So now as like PCI is dealing with the DGHS, and they're making us some opportunities for the pharmacist also. Okay, so you can also expect some opportunities in the coming time. Obviously you can also try with the WHO, that is a World Health Organization. Don't restrict yourself to the country only. Okay, so maybe WHO also have their the different units at the each and every country. So India also, we have the WHO office. So maybe they have the some opportunities for the pharmacist as well. Again, the Sports Authority of India, the Ayush department. So by that way you can get some junior research fellowship, or the senior research fellowship. And also, as we discussed, the Indian Railways, and then other sectors. So again, like in government, in community pharmacist, we also have the new introduction, like the Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. So now if you are going through the current scenario, there are more than 5,000 this type of community pharmacists in all over the country in the India. So you can also think about that if you are really interested to do that as a community pharmacy. So you can get further information on their website, the forms, and all other details, right? So healthcare expert in a bank. So in bank also you can get opportunities. So you can see the many the web portals, so that you can have the opportunity in the bank also. Okay, so coming to the next is a entrepreneur. So now you're thinking that should I get a job or start my own business? So if you have the enough financial the things, so you can always start your own business, instead you're doing the job. So entrepreneur is like, plan your own. So you might be set up your own community pharmacy, you might be have your own industry, your research institute, or maybe your research center that might be related with the clinical research or any other the new discovery of the drug molecule. So this is all about the opportunities we have in our current scenario. Okay, so obviously now you're thinking about how to crack your job interview, right? So for that, I told you, you need to have the basic your knowledge as well as the skills that required for your job. Okay, so basic and job related skills. So how you can develop your pharmacy skills. So this is all about the value addition. So apart from that, whatever the basic and the skills you want to adopt for your job, the value addition is also the one of the component you need to think about, and by that way you can get easily the job. Okay, so this is the job related skills one should have if you are thinking about the education. So obviously you need to have the qualification, experience, and then research. Okay, obviously you complete your MPharm research, and then you can try with your the job related with the education. As an educator, this is a higher level educator. Once you entered into the in the education field, later you can become a educator once you have the enough experience and uh, the dealing with the policy and the guidelines, the ICT tools. So you need to be aware about using the different information and communication technology related tools. So you need to be prepared in that way. You need to have the innovation in your teaching, also the research, also the participation in the conferences, and also might be the publication of the research, and then the publication of the books. So that all comes under the extracurricular activities. So this is the skills one should have if you're really interested for the education field. So these are the community and hospital related things, like patient centered care. As I explained you earlier, the advanced services. So apart from only dispensing the medicine, you need to counsel the patient, and you need to provide the extra services like body mass index, and and then the HbA1c testing, the blood glucose testing, and counseling the patient on their drug therapy, might be on the disease condition, right? You need to have some computerized database software, obviously, to have the all data of the patients so that you can counsel it properly. Promotional activities. So might be like this is the modern era of promotion. This is the modern era of offers. So obviously, as a pharmacy store, also as a pharmacy, community pharmacy also, you need to have some promotional activities for your customers, right, your patients, so that they are coming to your pharmacy. And if you have that particularly the repo, then obviously the patient will come to your community pharmacy. So obviously all these things you are doing to keeping all the things in mind about patient safety. So obviously to achieve all these things, you need to have the proper training in between the workshop, and also the community services that mainly helpful for the patients. Okay, so these are the skills required for the if you are searching the job in the pharmaceutical industry. So like global scenario, you need to know about the global scenario, what's going on in the world. Okay, you need to be more aware about the guidelines, policy, evidence, and the training workshop. Okay, innovation, as I discussed earlier, extracurricular activities, okay, also matters in the industry perspective. So these are the future prospects. So to my opinion, the passion leads to innovation, as I told you earlier. Positive thinking makes creativity, and by that way you can achieve your goals. Okay, developing new skills is the only way how we can move further in our career. And then where does research start? So if you are doing research, and if you want to do any research, where you can start your research? So where you can find a research question? First of all, starting the research, you should have a problem with you, or maybe it's a research question, right? So whenever you're reading some books, you may highlight some unknown, right? So this mechanism is unknown, this is unknown fact, this is not revealed date, this is not discovered. So from there, the research starts. So that is my opinion, right? So wherever the things are like unknown, or like undiscovered, or like the question mark, so there the research will starts. Okay, so this type of questions you may get in research article, you may get in books, you may get in the internet, right, resource. So at the same time you need to compare your local and national as well as the global perspective. So what are the opportunities you have at your local national level and also at the global perspective? So that is the way how you can uh, grow further. So this is the message I want to give you at the last to all of you. So let's contribute to the pharmacy education and research by enhancing quality education. So this is also one of the quote I prepared myself in this lockdown period. So these are the references I use for this today's session. So hope you understand this topic well. And now if you have any question, you please feel free to ask me, right? So just now I stopped sharing my screen. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask me.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, yes.
Sir, there are some questions from participants. We will start the question answer session.
Yeah, sure.
First question is from Miss Bhagyashri Patil. She is asking, in current corona pandemic situation, pharmacists are not considered as a corona warriors. Why this is happening, sir?
That is very good question. Yeah, I can say rather. So actually, that's why I brainstorm earlier, and I told you to think as a pharmacist what you are doing. So we need to ask question ourselves itself, right? So why our role is not that recognizable, right, compared to all the nursing staff, all the doctors? So where we are lacking, so we need to self reflect ourselves, right? So we need to reflect ourselves what mistakes we did in past and how we can move further, and then we can build a trust in a patient. So actually, as I told you, we need to have some campaign regarding the patient safety, regarding the health awareness, so that the public, the society can recognize us as like when I took the admission in my diploma in before 20-25 years before. So that time nobody knows about the pharmacy, right? I also even don't know that time what is the role of pharmacist in the society, because that is not that much recognizable. That time I know the nursing staff, that time I know the doctors, but that time I don't know the pharmacist. So that is the lacuna we have still, and that's why we need to fulfill that. We need to have the more patient involvement. We need to be the healthcare provider. As one of the healthcare provider, we need to give the suggestion, the counseling points to the patient accordingly. So say suppose I given the example here, if somebody is dispensing the insulin injection to the patient, right? So how many of us, like the pharmacist, giving the instruction to the patient regarding use of insulin, how the insulin will be used, right? So this is it's depend on the person to person. I cannot say like everyone is not doing that, but everyone should do that. That is our responsibility as a pharmacist. Anyone cannot set up a community pharmacy. Only the those having the basic qualification of diploma, they can have their own community pharmacy, but everyone cannot set up it. So that is the way how we think positively, and accordingly we need to do our job more promptly, rather I can say. So it is a need of time now. And don't rely every time on the government. Like you say, like what the government is doing, but as a human being, we need to do our job very correctly, very promptly, very sincerely, so that is the way how we can improve. And then if we are doing all these things, obviously our role will be recognized in coming time. So that's why you need to learn from our experience and what are the mistakes we did in our past that we need to improve. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so that is a very relevant question, and it's related with the clinical practice. So this
Yes,
is the
right.
team, that the actually the requirement of the the current time, I can say.
Yes, sir. Sir, another question is there from Tole Shobha. As pharmacists play a good role in the drug discovery, so sir, give some information regarding role of pharmacist in vaccine preparation for the newer disease, that is COVID-19, against COVID-19.
Yeah. So actually, many, as I told you, many industries, they are working on it. Okay, so only is not only related with the pharmacist, I can say. Okay, so only is not limited with the pharmacist now with the COVID-19 vaccine, but other healthcare providers also dealing with that. Say suppose, like in the clinical trials, so it is not only related with the pharmacist, but as well as other healthcare provider, like from the microbiologist. So from them up to the nursing staff, and also to the doctors and the pharmacists, so everyone is equally contributing in that. And many universities and research center and also some industries, they are trying to get the solution as early as possible. So if you are going through the current scenario, the many pharma companies, they are also dealing with that. Okay, and also obviously the pharmacist is equally contributing in that. Okay, in the preparation of the COVID-19, the vaccine. But now, there is no firm news came in the market, or in the advertise, in the social media page. But now, we know that many industries and then universities are very trying very hard to achieve that success in the coming time. Okay, so I don't want to reveal the exam, the company name and these things, but I can say, the in India also, we have the some institute, they are trying to get the solution for this COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. So another question is there from Ajay Datta. What is the qualification of airport pharmacy?
Airport pharmacy, in airport also we have the pharmacy. Okay, so mainly it is established with the pharma companies, the Apollo group, and there are many other groups are there. Okay, so you can just search through it, the search engine, many, you just type the keywords like pharmacy chain or the pharma company industry chain and the community pharmacy. So by that way you can you can see what are those company, they are offering the particularly the job there. Okay, so they have the tie-up with the government, I think. And I don't know much more about it, but the basic qualification you required is that at least you should have the diploma. So you should have the registered pharmacist certification with you, along with your whatever the training, actually the training, you should complete your training, and you should have your, the registered pharmacist certificate along with you. So that is the basic requirement you have. If you have the B Farm, it is it is good as compared to the diploma. Because if sometime, if you're going for the interview and as a diploma, if there are certain the B Farm students, so obviously they will select the B Farm student compared to the diploma student. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Next question is, sir, what is the role of pharmacist in mental health care as this pandemic situation of corona is day by day going very worst? So, what is the role of pharmacist in maintaining health
Exactly.
care, mental health care?
Yeah. Yeah, mental health care, like the mental health care and also the emotional, how we can counsel the patient emotionally, how we can manage the patient stress in that way. So particularly as a pharmacist, we have the counseling, right? So mental health and mental counseling and these things particularly is mainly related with the psychology field, right? So psychologically, like doctors, the psychology doctors and those people, they are doing the counseling in that. But even though the pharmacist also can do the counseling in that way, okay, to manage the patient mentally, as like the some patients have the mental stress due to the financial, okay. uh, that is one of the example, the financial, the uncertainty. So just know the question from the patient first, and basis on that you can counsel the patient accordingly. So mental health might be related with the different reasons, so only one reason is not affecting his mental health. There are many reasons, might be the family reason, might be the the other chronic illness reason, right? The patient is having the chronic illness like cancer, pancreatic cancer, or any other comorbidity. So you need to know the reason first, and then only you can counsel the patient in the correct way. And rather, I think I miss that point in my career opportunity for the pharmacist. So in coming time, you can see also the growth of pharmacy, community pharmacy, actually in the setup of counseling. So you can counsel the patient, as I think as I mentioned in the PCI, right? PCI is given the notification that the family student can counsel, and they can charge also for that, okay, for the counseling. So always you can do the mental health counseling also, okay, as like how the psychologists are doing. And there are many tools, okay, available to assess the mental health of the patient. There are many, you can go through the YouTube, you can go through the Google search, or the search engine. You can find many tools to assess the stress level of the patient. And by that way also you have some software freely available on the YouTube to deal with this particular mental stress, because nowadays this is a much more a problem with the many people. Those are particularly having the stress, like the mental health, or the stress, or also they are getting into the depression sometime if the stress is not covered in the shorter period of time. So that is the one of the complication, okay. So that's why the first question, if I remember, what is the, like why the role of a pharmacist is not recognizable. So this is the way, this is the opportunity, I can say, rather. Mental health, you can counsel the patient, and then they can recognize you as a pharmacist, okay. So they knows the doctor, they knows the nursing staff. Why they don't know the pharmacist? So you try to have the patient involvement, you try to communicate with the patient, and then that is the way how we can build a rapport with the patient, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One question is from PharmD students. They are asking that another countries they provide a platform for PharmD students for to prescribe the medicines to the patient, but why not in India? So, what is the role of PharmD students in India for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
patient for prescribing
yeah,
medicines to the patient?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So actually, in the Western country, if you are compare, like Western countries, if you are comparing, the PharmD is they launch long back. In India, we launch like in few years before PharmD, right? But
Yes, sir.
PharmD role is well recognized in Western countries from longer time. Okay, and that one obviously we cannot compare with India. That is the first thing I want to tell you, right? So
Yes.
they are more aware about their health. That is one of the reason I can say, okay. So like they everyone, like they have the health insurance policy. So in India, compared to that, how many of us we have the health insurance policy? How many we are spending money on that, right? So they recognize the role of pharmacist in we can say much more earlier way compared to the Indian setup. But now we are growing in that field. and obviously we need some time to grow in that field, in a pharmacy practice, in a PharmD. But now the efforts are going on from the Pharmacy Council of India, and now you can see the notification given by the Pharmacy Council of India is that the clinical pharmacists, they can work as a clinical pharmacist in the hospital, and they also mention the role, what role they need to perform in the hospital. Obviously the answer for your question is, in coming time, there is a way the pharmacist can prescribe the medicine to the doctor, no, sorry, the patient, right? So now only the doctor can prescribe to the patient, but in coming time, I know that to my opinion, it will take time. It is not a the fact of 1 or 2 years, but obviously it takes some times to achieve that target. Okay, so and that at the same time we need to build up our confidence also as a pharmacist. So as a pharmacist, you compare your knowledge with the MBBS doctor, right? So you need to compare that, you need to be in a competition. So it's not about only getting the authority to write the prescription, but at the same time we need to build up our confidence, the knowledge level, and also at the same time we need to prove ourselves as a pharmacist to the society first.
Yes, sir. Sir, last question is there. Do you really think that there is a need to change the Indian pharmaceutical scenario if we compare it to the scenario of other countries?
In what way? Actually, in what way? The question is.
We can say in prescribing of medicines or counseling of medicines, we have to change
Yeah,
the
yeah,
role
yeah.
of yes.
Okay. Prescription you cannot do right now, right? As I told you,
Yes.
prescribing medication you cannot do right now because it's not under law, right? In
Yes.
Indian setup, but always you can try for the counseling, right? You can just counsel the patient. Say suppose I will give you one of the example is diabetes. I'm a diabetes expert. I did my MPharm research in that field. Also I did my PhD in the diabetes. Okay, so I just want to quote the example of diabetes here. So say suppose you establish your community pharmacy along with the one particular setup with the counseling unit, along with the community pharmacy, along with your medical. So you can counsel the patient in that. Okay, and how you can counsel? So in western countries, in other countries, there are specialized pharmacists. I given in my I think PPT slides, right? There are specialized pharmacists. Those are specialized in diabetes, those are specialized in human health, like women health means like the postmenopausal woman, or also the particularly the pediatric pharmacy, geriatric pharmacy. So there are specialized pharmacy. Okay, in India that is not the case. Okay, so in that case, okay, we need to be specialized in some area. Now what we can suggest is that we can have the counseling center. Okay, we cannot obviously prescribe, but we can have the counseling center, and then counseling center we can counsel the patient. Say suppose I told you the diabetes. Okay, so many of the diabetes patient, they don't know even why they are taking the anti-diabetic drug, the oral hypoglycemic agent medication, right? So they should know their medicine first. Okay, so just launch a campaign like example, know your medicine, diabetes patient, know your medicine. Just have some campaign. So from your city, maybe like the patient will come, and then you can charge for them for for somewhat like the reasonable amount, what you can see. So as a PharmD, you can have the role in that also. Okay, so counseling center, you just give the awareness about the diabetes, how the diabetes will be controlled. Okay, actually the diabetes is not cured. That is well known fact, right? This is not well known, this is a well known fact, right? We cannot cure 100% diabetes. So diabetes is an ongoing process. Once you got the diabetes, then it will be lifelong up to your death. Okay, so might be like you can control well, right? So how you can control your diabetes, that may be your campaign. Okay, so educate patient accordingly how to take medication. If you have the hypertension, the blood pressure along with the diabetes, how you can take which type of medication. You consult with your doctor. What are the drugs that will be more better or appropriate if the patient is having diabetes alone and the patient is having diabetes plus hypertension, other comorbidities. Say suppose in the current scenario, we have the patient, right? Corona patient with asthma. So whether they can continue with your corticosteroid with the asthma and then COVID-19, the treatment. So that is the question. So just give the awareness about that. If you don't have that knowledge, because no one has dealing with that earlier, right? No one knows about the COVID-19 earlier, but now you can go through the the literature, the evidence base, the resources. You can use the different CDC guidelines, and other guidelines, and then you can educate the people accordingly. So once you are educating them, they can recognize you as a pharmacist. So that is the way how we can deal with this the current scenario. And as a pharmacist, we need to take a self initiative to have uh, the spreading your knowledge among the society, among the patient, and that is the way how you can deal with this the thing, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and thank you all the participants. There are n number of queries, n number of questions of the participants. But due to the shortage of time, we will stop the question answer session here. But don't worry, all the questions and queries will be resolved by the contacting through email to Dr. Praveen, sir, for sure. Thank you very much, sir. Now we'll start for the vote of thanks. It was a indeed privilege to have Dr. Praveen Kumar English, sir, a very eminent and renowned personality as a speaker from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, for today's webinar. His insightful lecture on multidimensional role of pharmacist in changing healthcare environment was full of wisdom and information. Even we all were enlightened by your enlightening talk. I feel that the faculty, student, industry person who attended this webinar will be able to extract the best results. So once again, I would like to give a huge thanks to Dr. Praveen Kumar English, sir, for having spared your precious time and knowledge for all of us. Thank you very much. I also would like to to mention my special thanks to principal and convener of this webinar, Dr. Amol Joshi, sir, for arranging the webinar series and supporting to all of us wholeheartedly. Thank you very much, sir. With gratitude, I wish my humble thanks to the management of Adarsh Institute and all body members for endless and enormous support. Thank you. I also would like to give a big thanks to my supportive coordinator, Mr. Umbre sir, Mr. Pange sir, Mr. Alkunte sir, Mr. Sharad Mari sir, for all technical as well as non-stop efforts and arranging this informative webinar. Thank you, one and all. I also would like to give a special thanks to all my teaching and non-teaching staff for their direct and indirect as well as constant supports. Thank you. Last but not the least, I would like to mention my special and heartfelt thanks to all the participants for their overwhelming response to this webinar. Without your support, it was impossible to conduct this webinar. We hope in future you will shower your huge response in another projects also. So thank you one and all. Thank you once again, Praveen Kumar English, sir, for this international webinar. And this was a really a very helpful and informative session for all of us. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Chitra. And then again, I want to, I would like to thanks to all the team members of the KT Patil College of Pharmacy, okay, Dr. Amol Joshi, and then all the management team members to initiate this, the international webinar. And also, I want to thanks to all the students and the future pharmacists, okay, of the country. And then I would like to thanks to all the members, the team members of this international webinar, those organized this, and thank you for your efforts. And I know that you're chasing me from last 1 month, and then I was busy with the other things also. So maybe in the coming time we also have the other sessions also. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.